Cheers.
Dun, dun, dun,
Cheers.
dun, dun.
Hey guys, this is Matt Scott, and I'm with my dudes in a very particular order. Eric,
What's up?
Dave,
How you doing?
John,
Hello, John.
Hello, John.
and we're here to present a new segment of ours, the Wrestling Podium. Instead of watching movies, we're going to be watching Royal Rumble matches from a specific year. So for this podcast, we've chosen the legendary Royal Rumble of 1992. We'll still ask ourselves questions like our movie podcast, but obviously we've come up with a separate set of questions. I'm pretty pumped about the new segment because for me the Royal Rumble is one of my favorite sporting events of all time. I have fond memories of walking to KT Videos every Tuesday in the summer and renting like 5 Royal Rumbles for $1.25. Honestly, it's up there as one of my favorites with the likes of the World Series, American Gladiator reruns, the NBA playoffs, and as you guys know, my favorite time of the year, March Madness. The premise of a Rumble is simple. You start with 2 wrestlers entering the ring. 30 entrants. Every 2 minutes, a new wrestler enters the ring until we get to that 30 mark. The method of eliminating a fellow wrestler is as basic as throwing them over the top rope. This goes on until there is one man standing in the ring. It doesn't get much more dramatic than that. It's definitely on my podium in terms of the all-time wrestling pay-per-views. Dag, where do you think the Royal Rumble stands in the wrestling pay-per-view world?
I put the Royal Rumble at number 3. Naturally, we have WrestleMania at number 1.
Yep.
And SummerSlam at number 2. I love the Royal Rumble, but I think in the grand scheme of WWE pay-per-views, it comes number 3. So still a podium.
Nice. Bronze.
Get the bronze.
John, you got the Royal Rumble shirt on. What?
Because I give it the silver. Gold is still Mania, but I bump it up a notch because it directly relates to WrestleMania.
Yep. Eric?
I think that's right. I would say silver as well, but I also want to mention, was it WCW that had the pay-per-view where there are 3 rings?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had 3 rings.
That's the other one that I mention.
I want to say 60 or 64 entrants for that one, and they're all.
My gosh.
So as we kind of discussed that they had 2. It started with 2, and then every 2 minutes somebody comes in. That Rumble actually had all of them in at the same time to start. Everybody was in all at once, and they just said go.
Yeah, that's a battle royale.
A battle royale.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Was this the first Royal Rumble where the belt was given to the winner as opposed to the winner getting a chance at the belt?
This was not the first time. This was actually one of the last times. I don't know the exact year, but this is actually one of the last times that this happened. So it was
a regular thing.
This was their original idea to give it to the winner of the Rumble, and then later on they said, well, that's kind of extreme. I mean, let's build it up to Mania. Couple facts before we get into this. Ric Flair lasted the longest at 59 minutes and 31 seconds. That is good for 8th best of all time. The most eliminations, did anybody pick up on who eliminated the most wrestlers?
In this Rumble?
Yep.
Wasn't it Bulldog?
No.
Not
could
Bulldog.
guess. I'm going to say Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah, I was going to say Davey Boy too.
Nope. It was Sid Justice, or as we know him as Sid Vicious, with 6. Other than the British Bulldog and Ted DiBiase coming out first and second, and I'm sure you guys noticed there was no entrance music for any of the other wrestlers.
Yeah.
They started entrance themes in 1996. I much prefer the music. I don't know about you guys, but I just love that connection of somebody running in.
Yeah.
Wait, I said Bulldog, and then you guys said Davey Boy. That's the same person.
Yeah. It is.
Okay.
I thought you said Hogan.
Just making sure we were on the same page. No, I said Bulldog.
It's not British Bulldog. It's Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah, and then his
No,
nickname's
it's all It's all the same. He's our guy.
Big guy.
So I don't know. I'm sure you guys picked up on this, but there's a real weird, unique instance that happened in this Rumble, and I gotta say, there's definitely some controversy behind it. It's not one of my favorite Rumbles, and maybe because of this. So Macho Man voluntarily jumps over the top rope to pursue a battle with Jake the Snake Roberts, right?
Savage with a high knee, Jake is out of there. Savage is out too.
So even Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon initially stated that Savage made a huge mistake by eliminating himself.
God damn it! Why are we talking about this already?
But then a few, yeah, good point. But then a few minutes later, this is just the
It's
random
fucking
fact.
elimination of the night, and you just fucking steal it from
But
me.
it's not the elimination. So
But it
anyway,
wasn't.
It absolutely is. Him eliminating himself was the funniest fucking thing
I know.
I've ever seen.
So-
and everyone's like, oh, well, he's done. And then because the Undertaker just insisted on beating him up, just kept throwing him into the ring. He threw him into the ring twice.
so
Just because he wanted to keep beating him up. And then they were like, oh, yeah, I guess he's
Someone has
allowed
to throw you over
allowed
the
to be in because he didn't get thrown out by somebody.
yeah, I was gonna say, so Monsoon and Heenan then try to clear it up by saying that an opponent must propel a superstar over the top rope to be eliminated.
He certainly is. Somebody has to throw. You have to be propelled by someone else.
The only
Of course.
problem, so my biggest issue with that is, I mean, obviously, other than the fact that that's in the rule book that he goes over, is that Big Boss Man, I don't know if you noticed when he lunged into, or attempted to lunge into Ric Flair, and then he went over the top rope and was eliminated, and no one said anything.
Oh no! Oh, nice move. Boss man did his feet hit the ground.
Yeah, he just fell
So
over.
he literally did the same exact thing, and he had to.
It's all the Undertaker's fault.
I think it was
Because-
WWE's fault.
Boss Man's elimination was real sloppy too. It was like, oh goodness. Ow.
It was bad. So I have two more actually. So I don't know if you noticed when Shawn Michaels was, giving his kick in the face region, but the announcers didn't point out that it was his signature move at the
No, it
time,
was-
right? Sweet
It
chin
was a
music.
crescent kick.
Exactly. So
A terrific kick.
it turns out that Sweet Chin Music wasn't his finisher until 1993, a year later.
Okay.
Yeah, he was giving
Didn't
that
know
out
that.
left and right.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. But so apparently he didn't even adopt that as his signature move until another year.
I would also like to
Oh,
say
actually,
that
I said that.
just mullets everywhere.
Big dudes. So there were a lot of jobbers. There were actually more
Mullets.
jobbers than I expected, and yes, lots of mullets.
I like there was no Brian Knobs, but there was the non-Brian
Yes.
Knobs.
Yeah.
Nasty boy, wasn't
I'm
there?
so mad at you, Matt, that you stole that from me.
Whoops.
Matt's just trying to keep it light with like, this is a fun facts section of our podcast. Little does he know that he's taking Dave's thunder.
I
Throwing
might
it in
have
the
stolen
trash.
thunder. All right. So,
He thought I was hallucinating though about Macho Man.
yeah,
Because I
no, so
wanted
did
to
I.
ask. I'm like,
Yeah.
did I imagine him just zealously jumping over the
Well,
rope?
Okay, this plays into the storyline question, but you guys know why he jumped. He was mad at Jake the Snake Roberts for punching Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
So his whole goal coming out there into the Rumble was to get even with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yep.
So he threw Jake the Snake Roberts over, and he was like, "Nope, I'm not done with you."
Yeah, I like that. He's like, screw this match. I'm just gonna thrash you.
And then when he first came out too, he like got in the middle of the ring and he was like looking around.
Yeah, he
But
was
Jake
going
had
for
slid
Jake
to
the Snake.
the outside. Yeah.
He slithered away.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, so before we go into the questions, Bruce Buffer, can you give us a little announcement?
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, guys.
Also, Bruce Buffer, can you tell us Can you tell our audience to subscribe, please?
How are you not gonna get Howard Finkel?
No, sorry,
Yeah,
Howard Finkel.
Think.
Please like and subscribe. Also, you can listen to us on our audio podcasts at Apple and Spotify. And
Really,
watch us
wherever
on
you get your
YouTube.
podcast.
Or wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. First question. Best entrance for this Rumble? All right, so Dag, I'm gonna give you first chops at this. That way, I don't
So no
ruin
one
it from
steals
you.
the
I
fucking-
don't want to steal it.
All right, I'm gonna go with Sensational Sherry for
Awesome.
coming out with Ted DiBiase.
John.
My top entrance is Piper. He comes in and gets right in Flair's face, right when Flair is starting to gain momentum in the match.
Oh no! Big time!
Added a whole new level to the match when he came in, and the crowd popped pretty hard for him.
Yeah, he was like the only face. I feel like in the entire. I mean, everybody got booed.
Well, I mean, there's one bigger face that got a bigger pop.
Yeah, of
that
course.
I won't mention.
Yeah, whatever. All right, Eric.
I said my favorite entrance was the Alligator Man right after Hogan because no one gave a shit. The announcers had to be like, "Oh, it's the Alligator Man! He's running in!"
It's Skinner, the Alligator Man.
No one gave a fuck.
They were still excited about John's mention of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
My favorite entrance was actually Jake the Snake. Even though he didn't come out with a snake, I just liked how he came in. He looked around and he sat in a corner and just let everybody start wrestling.
Jake, the Snake Roberts. He knows what he's doing. You don't want to get involved.
Roddy should have saw that coming though. He should have been like, yeah, when I turn my back to this guy, he's gonna hit me in the head.
It's so weird going back to the entrances without a jumbotron.
I know.
Because
What
that's
was the
how.
song?
Whenever I first was reading this question, I was thinking of people's like entrance music, the jumbotron playing in the background and everything else. With a
too.
Royal Rumble, it's everybody running out to the ring.
Yeah.
That's why I chose Sensational Sherry, was because she was the hottest one that walked to the ring that night. Also, an honorable mention to the Repo Man for his creepy ass walking up to the ring the way that he did.
That is a pretty good honorable mention. He was like just slinking around the where should I go first?
He like turned around twice to where Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon were just going, look, he doesn't even know where the ring is.
Oh, it's the Repo Man. He don't even know which direction the ring is. Got a plan. He knows what to do. He's wasting.
Next question. Elimination of the night. So, I kind of talked about it already, but I just thought it was funny that the Big Boss Man basically eliminated himself, and he just wasn't as big of a character as Macho Man, so they just said, all right, see ya. You're gone. Like, if you were the Macho Man, hey, come back in and, keep wrestling and be one of the Final Four. But if you're the Big Boss Man, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the best part.
Well, that's why it's the elimination of the night.
That's the best part, is that he eliminated himself and then ended up in the Final Four.
I didn't notice he made it to the Final Four because after he was still fighting, I'm just like, this isn't legitimate. Like, I saw him get eliminated. This has got to be him, like, building up a feud with somebody.
Yeah.
All right,
He's not gonna win, right?
Right.
For mine, I'm going to take the second biggest controversy of the evening, and that was Hulk Hogan cheating with the greatest cheater in the game to give him the win
yeah,
by holding
that's true.
Sid Justice's hand.
Yep.
So that way Ric Flair could just throw him over.
It's Flair from behind. Oh, yes.
John?
Yep. That's a good one. He's not as squeaky clean as all the little Hulksters might.
The
believe.
Hulkamaniacs?
Yeah. I guess I'll go with my favorite elimination was Flair eliminating Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, because they both entered early and they both were basically, battling with each other. Davey Boy looked like the strongest man in the ring. Flair eliminates him, and then it causes a flurry of eliminations, and then clears the way for him eventually, making the final run to, glory.
That means 26 to Davey Boy's out of there.
Eric?
My favorite elimination was Sid Justice just absolutely launching Sergeant Slaughter into the corner. And he just he hit the corner and then he fell out.
Oh, yeah.
I can't sit anymore. Oh, Slaughter's gone.
He flew out.
Yeah. It was shocking.
Yeah,
how hard he hit that corner.
That was my second one. If someone took my first one, it was wow.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to the Undertaker coming out and one-shotting Jimmy Snuka, Superfly Snuka out of the ring.
Believe me, here's a man who has no bone.
He hit him once.
Yeah.
And then
it's funny. You just reminded me that my favorite spot later is actually an elimination that we haven't mentioned yet. So right. I will be quiet.
Well, actually, Eric, you gave yours. So next category, best spot.
Well,
so John, yeah, go ahead, John.
Go for it, John.
It happens to be another elimination.
All right,
I don't remember who did it, but it's the elimination of the Undertaker, where he gets clotheslined over the top rope, lands on his feet, and rolls his eyes back.
Off the ropes, yes, clothesline, and Undertaker's gone.
Yeah, I know.
He just walks backstage.
I wonder if that was the inception of the eye roll. It came out and they didn't really talk about him doing it or anything. It just kind of happened.
He does do it. He did it a couple times during the match whenever he was choking people, where Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
I'd like to talk about the choking thing. That just got old real quick. It was just Undertaker walking around with his head down, going boom.
Yeah.
And I was just expecting him to pick them up for a choke slam, but no, he just just choked them. That's it.
There really weren't very many spots, to be honest. The moves in '92. I mean, I don't have this on my podium. I mean, it's a legendary one because what we'll get into later. But I thought the spots were kind of tough to find. I actually went with more of a move, but I just like the Haiku or Ming's pile driver.
Oh, look at this. Pile driver.
I would not want to be pile driven by that guy.
Yeah. No. I'll go. My spot of the night was HBK selling to, what was it? The Texas Tornado Punch. Because he got punched and then he just flipped around.
See, when you come through that curtain and hit that squared circle, you've got everything going for you.
That's a Texas selling for a Texan there.
Yeah.
All right, my spot of the night was Flair being the last one in the ring before number 15, and then Piper came out in a fury.
Nice.
So I thought it was just a cool spot to have to, celebrate Ric Flair by having him after coming out. What was it, third? He came out third.
Yeah. Yep.
And then being the only one left in the ring before the 15th entrant even came out. So he overcame all of that, and then here comes Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that because it really feels like two different Rumbles. You had that first, the 1 through 14, and then when Roddy comes, it's the second act, because then everybody starts coming, and then they're like, all right, let's flood the ring, let's do this, let's have Sid, let's have Hulk. It's two different matches, because at the beginning you're just kind of, well, I won't spoil anything, but yeah. So I thought that was cool. Let's see. So now we have next category. Save of the night. So my save of the night was a scene where Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels are wrestling. Michaels is against the rope, and you think he's going over. They're doing the song and dance where Michaels is straddling over the top rope, and he just goes bam and eye pokes him.
Flair trying to get Michaels out of there. Well, finger right in the eye.
and then he gets off, and it's fine. I'm like, awesome. Perfect.
There was a
Perfect move
liberal
against
use
Flair.
of eye pokes, and I loved it. It's like everyone was eye poking any chance they got. Which
It was so
is the Royal
dirty.
Rumble. Anything goes. Every man for himself. Do you want to win or not?
It was such a dirty Royal Rumble
was.
because everyone in the Rumble was a heel.
I know. There's so many eye pokes, crotch hit. Everything.
Piper would just no-sell something and then like stand right back up, poke you in the eye, and then walk off.
I want to go last.
All right, that's fine. Eric?
I didn't have one, so I'm gonna just go ahead and agree with John.
Sweet. John?
My save was Ric Flair was about to eliminate. Ric Flair was about to be eliminated by Hulk Hogan, but he was saved by a member of IRS. I don't know his name, but I'm
The IRS man.
What do you mean? His name is IRS.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his name?
Yes.
Wow, what a generic.
It's the IRS man. He carries a briefcase.
Because his name is Erwin
like
R.
Hulk.
Shyster.
That's right. They do say Shyster in
He was-
there, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The announcers do. That's
But
hilarious.
just how someone, Hogan's about to eliminate Ric Flair, who eventually wins it, saved by
Spoiler.
nobody.
You
All right,
guys
Dag.
have all missed. You guys have all
You're all
missed
up,
it.
Dag.
Undertaker throwing Savage back into the ring, insisting on beating him up after Savage eliminated himself is the best save of the night. Come on!
That's fair.
This dude jumps over the ring. They say that he's eliminated. Undertaker's like, not today. Throws him in there once. He rolls back out to try to go back after Jake the Snake Roberts. And Undertaker says, no, you're still in this match. And throws him in one more time.
It's funny you say that.
Rules, like, damn it.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I went to the bathroom and I came back and Cohen was watching and he was like, Macho Man got eliminated. And I was like, oh, dang. I'm like, that sucks. And then a minute later, he runs back in and he's wrestling. I'm like thinking like, wait a minute, what's going on?
This
Like,
little kid's just seeing things.
yeah, I'm like, what?
Why'd you lie to me, Cohen?
Ridiculous. All right,
It happens in wrestling sometimes.
next question. Who are you rooting for in this match?
I had two.
All right, go ahead,
If I can
Barrett.
go first.
Yep, go ahead.
First was Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog. I wanted him to go coast to coast. Once he got eliminated, and then at the end, once I saw that Sergeant Slaughter elimination, I started rooting for Sid. Because that was, again, horrific.
So I'll piggyback off that because I actually also thought, or I also was rooting for the British Bulldog. I mean, obviously Flair's the easy pick, so I kind of want to be different, but I did find myself rooting for Bulldog. And also, when he had Ric Flair up above and he was doing those tricep extensions,
Oh, look at this power press slam!
that's fucking ridiculous. Like, that's not easy to do on a human being.
Oh,
So-
yeah, they made him look like a god in
Yeah.
the first half of the match.
Seriously.
And then when Ric Flair eliminated him, that's when I'm like, he might win this thing.
Yeah, so he ended up with the fourth longest time in the ring of this Rumble at 23 minutes.
Nice.
John, who are you rooting for in this Rumble?
I was rooting for few different people at different times. I guess I'll go with my first, which was Kerry Von Erich, who didn't last very long.
Yeah, it's not long at all.
But just because
What a
of,
pick.
wanting to see him succeed in the WWF. But, ultimately it was not to be.
To be or not to be.
But we do get a movie pretty soon with Zac Efron.
My
yeah,
pick
that's
was the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. That's who I
Yeah.
was rooting for most of the match. And then whenever he got eliminated, I was rooting for Roddy Piper. But I already knew who won this.
So that was
So-
I was going to ask before we get into this next question. Did everybody know what the outcome was going to be? I
Nope,
definitely did.
I did not.
I've watched all of the Rumbles and definitely know. So Eric, you did not. John?
I didn't know. I might have
No.
known it one time, but I didn't know.
Okay,
I
that's
didn't
kind of
remember-
cool. I'm jealous, kind of.
Yeah.
It was a refresher of the finish, but
Yeah.
I had seen this before.
Also, just to rewind a little bit, HBK, can we talk about his mullet? Because holy moly, that was luscious. Dave, I don't know if you were admiring it, but
Work on my mullet.
I feel like somebody else had
Please.
a better mullet of the night.
Well, the Nasty
I-
Boys. Oh, we should have done a mullet of the night.
no, the nasty.
Nasty
so
Boys.
that's not. I mean, that one's good, but that's like you shaved the side of your head.
Mhm.
This was like long, luscious, flowing hair in the back, and then just like a buzz cut sort of thing up top.
The
Sean gets-
hammer had a nice
The
mullet.
Hammer did
The
have a
Hammer.
good one. 100%.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yep. All right. So with talking about what the
Mullets.
result is, yeah, in mullets. Next question: is this a podium moment in the career for the Rumble winner? So as we kind of discuss, Ric Flair ends up winning this, and we'll talk about the end here at the end. But Ric Flair wins this, and so and this question is this a podium moment for his career? And we kind of picked this Rumble because we had in mind the question and the fact that this is more than likely a podium moment in their career, but we can all kind of discuss that. So I would say it is, and it's kind of the crowning achievement for Ric Flair's career. And he even in the post interview goes, "This is the greatest night of my life."
This is the greatest moment in my life.
And so like even he telegraphs
I'm
it.
sure
but-
he's never said that.
Yeah, right. Probably to every girl he has over, but but I think it is because I mean he wins. What's crazy is he has like what 16, 17, I think 16 championships of all time, and
At that time,
no. At that time, definitely not. But this was kind of like what put him over because then we get all the WCW stuff and all the big Nature Boy stuff, and this was kind of his crowning achievement. So, what do you guys say, John?
yes, because as far as I knew, this was his first win in the WWF. At this point, he's already had a long career. This is a guy who my dad remembers winning his nickname Nature Boy off of Buddy Rogers.
Yep.
So
Woo!
I think my impression is this was his first big success in WWF. So,
Exactly.
kind of his first flag planted in new ground.
Yep. Exactly. Eric?
Yeah, I would say yes too, mostly because like he broke the record of how long, like what duration in the Rumble
Yep.
as well.
At
So,
that
like, that was
time,
cool,
yeah.
too.
And not only that, but he was the first wrestler within the top 5 entrants to win at the time as well.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Dave?
I said no. For me, some of his best matches were War Games at the Great American Bash in 1987.
I love the War Games.
He was the he was in the first ever War Games.
Yep.
Then I would have his match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24, which was the match that sent him into retirement.
The I Quit match. Yep.
The I Quit match. And
I'm
then,
sorry, I love you match.
And then last but not least, how can we not forget Ric Flair trying to die in the ring?
Yeah.
with this last ever match.
I only caught like a very glimpse of that.
Where he's a fucking 100-year-old man trying to wrestle Jeff Jarrett.
So I as of him being 67 years old, I saw a video of him deadlifting 405 pounds. That's as a 67-year-old. I mean, obviously he's older now, but I saw that video and I'm like, at the time I couldn't even do that. I was like, what the fuck? Like Ric Flair can do this at that age. So he was
But in all
stronger
seriousness.
yeah, he's stronger than
sorry.
he used to be. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I was just, in all seriousness, no, it's a yes for me. I cut out that last match, and it's definitely this one.
Yeah, for sure. I was wondering about that hot take. All right. So next question. I'm excited about this one. Commentator's line of the night. So I want to go last on this one.
Well, I want to ask a question first.
Sure.
Is this after Vince did commentary?
Yes.
And he passed it on to somebody, and he passed it on to others, or was he still doing commentary?
I believe he's still doing commentary at this time, but it's just
He's not doing the like in-match commentary. He's
Yeah.
probably doing other.
I think he's
like,
rotating and
announcing.
yeah.
His voice was on the front of the pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Where he
Right.
announced everyone coming in.
Yeah,
So
I did-
he definitely puts on that mean, like, you know, tonight from wherever.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a couple. I mean, this match is so iconic because of the commentary crew.
Oh,
of
God.
Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby
There's
the
some
Brain
pretty
Heenan.
funny lines. Not gonna lie.
And like, sure, there's specific lines through the match that Bobby Heenan throws out there, but just one of my favorite things through the entire match is just the way Bobby Heenan is rooting for Ric Flair and is constantly asking, "Where's he at?
Yeah.
What's he doing? Why is he doing that? He shouldn't be doing that. He needs to rest."
This guy is a great athlete. I mean, he's taking a beating. He has taken a beating. Just too bad he got number 3.
Just constantly worried about Ric Flair. And then my favorite one-liner from Bobby Heenan is there's a point towards the end of the Rumble where he goes, "Oh my God, I'm so wet. Hey, get me something to drink."
I'm soaking wet. I need something to drink. Hey, you stupid. Give me something to drink.
I remember that one.
That's awesome.
He forgot to cover up the mic.
Yeah.
John, what about you? What's your favorite line of the night?
I've got a couple. One is from technically before the match starts when it's the president of the WWF. It's probably Heenan because he's the dickhead. Says, you know, during a pause while the president of WWF is addressing the audience, he says, "Best president since Noriega."
Thank you, Mr. President. He's been the best president since Noriega. Will you please?
What do you mean waiting for a pause? During Howard Finkel's whole thing, and then whenever the president comes out, they were just both talking over all of it.
Yeah. For sure.
Another one I liked, Eric, you go ahead. You two go ahead. I'll add this in if you don't pick this one.
All right, Eric.
The one that I remember, the funny one, outside of them having to tell everyone that the alligator man is coming in. The one that I liked was, I think it was, so Roddy Piper was helping out Ric Flair. Like he was like hitting someone, or like someone was gonna eliminate Ric Flair, and Roddy Piper came over and hit him, and then it stopped. and I can't remember which. One of the announcers said, "Oh, Roddy Piper, you're great. It's not a kilt. It's it's not a skirt. It's a kilt."
It's a kilt. It's not a skirt. It's a kilt.
And then like 30 seconds later, Piper hits Ric Flair, and he says something along the lines of, "Oh, Piper, you suck, you skirt-wearing freak."
No good freak. You skirt wearing freak.
Lawler does that a lot too, where he'll just flip flop.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how he does that. So my line is actually after the match in the post interview with Ric Flair. There's this. So Mean Gene's interviewing Ric Flair, and after he won, right? And out of nowhere, you hear Mean Gene go, "Hey, put that cigarette out."
Very good. Ric Flair, you have made world... Put that cigarette out. You have made World Wrestling Federation history.
And there's no context. Nothing happens afterwards. You don't see anything. You just hear him go, "Hey, put that cigarette out."
That's the only time I think I've heard him actually be me.
Yeah, that was real. I assume that was real. I just absolutely love that.
My other line that I really loved was in the action of the match. I think it was it Heenan that you said Dave was like super concerned. He goes, it was at some point where Ric Flair was probably assumed dead, but he goes, "Flair is still moving. He still wants to fight." Which I love because it's like he took a slight sign of movement as, all right, there's still fight left in him. No, he just moved his leg.
We've already brought it up a couple of times of how many heels were in this match. And then they get a heel commentator in Bobby Heenan.
There's
Or like Bobby Heenan.
Does anybody remember the line? I should have wrote it down, but he says something about your mama. Like he says something like what does he say?
I got it. So,
okay, thank you.
Because I wrote this one down.
I almost did. I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
Because Ric Flair low blows Davey Boy, and then and then Bobby Heenan goes, "I'd low blow my mother if I had to."
Hang in there. I'd do that to my grandmother if I had to. I'm sure you would.
Yeah, that's it. That was exactly
right.
Yeah.
That's classic.
And Gorilla Monsoon is like, "Oh, yeah, you would."
All right, so for the next question, we have best storyline. So I'll go first on this, and this one might be easy. I'm not gonna get cute. It's definitely Ric Flair being the earliest entrance, as we've already talked about, and longest in the match itself. But I'll say the honorable mention is Macho Man for eliminating himself and coming back. That's probably the second best storyline.
Yeah.
But I have to say Ric Flair. I mean, doing what he did and the win, and that was awesome. It's a pretty legendary storyline, and just gotta go with it. Anybody have anything else?
I picked the Macho Man thing where
It's
he
awesome.
jumped over the top rope, and then they were like,
It's
"No,
one-
you have to
one
get
A or
thrown
B."
over the top rope."
Yeah.
Because that's
I
hilarious.
have, I agree, Ric Flair, that was my top storyline, but also Piper. He came in hot, and he had won the Intercontinental Championship leading into this, so that was another storyline that had me interested, but not the top one, Flair, by far and away.
Yeah. Dag?
I think mine was Hulk Hogan getting pissed about Sid Justice throwing him out of the ring and then cheating to give somebody else the win because of how mad he was that Sid Justice tossed him out of the ring.
Yeah. Did anybody else kind of feel like Ric Flair got the short end there at the end when that Sid Vicious and Hulk were like kind of had that standoff at the end? Like, none of those guys won. Why are they still in the ring, and why aren't we celebrating Ric Flair? Like,
Yeah.
I know what they were getting to because of what was next.
Well, they were
WrestleMania.
probably creating a bigger storyline to have a feud between those two.
Right, exactly. But the problem is that Ric Flair won. So like I hate when WWE does that and they take away whatever just happened to it for us that we had just seen
because they're pretty
and
much
replace it with
telling
something
you
bigger.
Hogan's gonna get the belt back.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're pretty much saying like, hey, this isn't as important as this guy. And it's always Hogan.
They make up. I feel like they made up for it with the Ric Flair promo.
Oh, the Ric Flair promo saved the day. You put in Aroldis Chapman and he comes in and saves it. Right? All right, so we have 2 left. The next one is which wrestler's podium in this Rumble for you? So Eric, you want to go first on this? Who are the 3 guys your podium in this Rumble?
It's gonna be Davey Boy, British Bulldog, the Sid. Sid will be next. I think. Yeah. So Sid's actually number 3. Davey Boy's number 2. Number 1's Flair.
John?
Flair's on top. Davey Boy's in there. I put him at 3 because he put in his work early. And at number 2, I will put Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Nice. We are very similar on this. That's cool. Dag?
I've got.
Wait, that was a menacing laugh.
I've got Roddy Piper at number 3. Ric Flair at number 2.
Oh God!
At number 1, we got Macho Man Randy Savage.
I knew that's why you were laughing. You dick. So I had British Bulldog with the bronze, Shawn Michaels with the silver, and Ric Flair winning the gold.
Michaels makes the podium for you.
I like the 4 Sweet Chin musics in a row.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Bam, bam.
He does bring the energy.
Yeah, and
He
his
does.
sell on the
Texas
when he
tornado
sits on
punch.
the rope, and then
Oh.
he gets the rope in between the legs. That's
My negative attitude.
that's always a
Yeah,
It's always a
that's-
fan.
Yeah, and he's
pleaser.
bouncing up.
Yeah.
So it ends with Macho Man getting thrown out over the bump, right? And then Sid Vicious knocks out Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan pulls out Sid Vicious, right? So those 4, Hogan...
Sid Vicious?
Yes. Well, at the time.
Sid
not the time. Sorry, Sid Justice. Bad habit. So we had Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Sid Vicious. So we ask... Does the Final 4 podium in the Rumble history? I said maybe. There's so many top 4s that I hesitate with this. I think Sid Vicious is
Justice.
is the weak link, and there's a few others that we'll get into.
Weak.
That I don't want to
Did you
spoil.
see him? Did you see him throw Sergeant Slaughter into the corner of the ring?
I can't sit anymore.
Sergeant Slaughter then flew out of the ring.
You know
He
what?
hit the
I
ring
changed my.
post too, on his way out.
I'm gonna change my answer. So I'm changing my answer, and it just kind of clicked. I'll bet I'll have to do the research, but I'll bet this is the top 4 or the Final 4s probably have the most titles combined of any Rumble. I'll bet with Hogan, Macho Man, and Ric Flair. I mean, who has the most? I'll bet this is the total amount of belts between the 4. So I'll say yes for that reason.
World title belts.
Yeah.
That
Here's
sounds,
my problem.
That sounds
Here's
like
my
a total
problem.
Matt stat. Sorry.
Here's
I know.
my problem with
Go
it.
go for it, Dak.
Is you've got one of your Final 4 that eliminated himself earlier in the match. You've got Sid Justice, you have Sid Justice, who is obviously forgettable because Matt keeps calling him Sid Vicious.
Well, that's who he is later.
I know, but
I would
not
like
at
to
this
call
moment.
attention again to the Sergeant Slaughter
Hollywood
spot.
Hulk Hogan.
No, Sid Justice is not a good wrestler. He was not a good character.
Did
He
you
won
ever
a
see that
belt.
time
Your
where he?
two, your
Dude,
your
he
two
jumped-
your two highlights of this Final Four are Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, and nobody. I mean, fuck Hulk Hogan. Fuck Hulk Hogan. so for me, like the only two honorable mentions of this Final Four are Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Your
But
favorite Macho
we've got Macho Man that shouldn't even been in the Final
Yeah.
Four. So I mean there's no way that this Final Four is a podium in the Rumble. I mean, how
It's
how
not
many
a Final
Rumbles
Four
have there
ending.
been? How many Rumbles have there been? 36, 30, like
So it started in what, 88? So we're at 35.
I was trying to remember
36.
what it like
36, yeah.
'cause on-
you're probably
Yeah,
right.
this
because
is
on
only-
Peacock they like have it as episodes, and I
Yeah.
think that the total number on there, unless they're not all there, was 36.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense because it started in 88. So, 36. All right, John?
No. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, obviously top tier wrestlers. But I feel like you have to have someone in every Final Four of the Rumble like that. And then
For sure.
Sid Justice, sorry, he just was never it. He was just there, a warm body at the time.
He's won
big boy with-
he's won heavyweight championships.
right.
But I get it. I agree.
He's also broke his leg off the top rope.
It's one
Yeah,
like
Macho
there-
Man, I mean, would be a nice Final Four, but it's the whole, like, confusion of him being there is kind of wacky. So I think, just because maybe it was an early Royal Rumble and a little bit messy, one of these later ones has to knock it off in terms of the Final Four.
Fair. Eric?
I say no, just mostly because once you have the four in there, it's not spectacular work.
I do.
Honestly,
I agree with
I forget like what led up to, Sid throwing Hulk Hogan over the rope. Like, it's just forgettable for me, so that's why I said no.
Yeah, and I mean, this question, it kind of took a different turn because I was thinking the actual wrestler's prowess, and you guys kind of interpret it as the ending, which, fine, both ways. So, yeah, that makes... Yeah. I totally understand where you guys are coming from. From an ending, very lackluster, not very good wrestling, and definitely forgettable. So, yeah, good answers. I agree.
Randy gets thrown out quick.
Yeah.
Hulk is trying to push Ric Flair out of the ring, and Sid comes from behind and throws
knocks him
Hulk
out.
over.
And then
Yeah.
Hulk pulls him down.
Then
And
Hulk's
then-
like, what? No.
And then Hogan's all upset, grabs Sid by the hand, and then Rick sees what's going on and comes and tosses Sid over.
Yeah, we'll see in the Attitude Era when it's like Kane, The Rock, Undertaker, and HBK, or Stone Cold, and like some of these guys, and they wrestle for 20
Yeah, I feel
minutes.
like when it reaches the Final Four, they'll like break and like everyone catches their breath,
Absolutely.
and they all go into the final act.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
like Randy Orton's in almost every Final Four in the last 20 years, but he actually but he's spectacular at it. Like there's certain guys, and the reason why I like this question is because of that. Like there are some guys when you see them at the Final Four, you're like, all right, I'm in for like this final act. This was not like that.
Yeah.
I just went on the belts.
Yeah, it was like it wanted to be like a sneaky finish, but it was just done very clunkily. I guess.
Yeah, clumsy.
And like
yeah,
it
absolutely.
it wasn't smooth or anything. So, I had to give it the no.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun.
I got a closer. I got a closer for this episode.
All right.
Oh?
All right, Dag.
This has been the Wrestling Podium, and if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Suck it.